turning headline news into punchline gold. 5 nights a week. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Can artificial intelligence ever be moral? Or do the robots just pretend to be moral and it just seems like they are to us? I'm here to discuss the philosophy of machine ethics and what it really means for AI to do good. I'm here with philosophy professor at Texas A&M University, Martin Peterson. Martin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I think we got to start big here. What does it mean when philosophers say something has morality? What makes a being, a machine, anything capable of making a moral choice?
I think that philosophers try to capture the common sense notion of morality that we all share. When I say that you are a moral being, I believe that you have free will, for example. You can control your decisions unless you suffer from some sort of extreme psychiatric disease. But the machine doesn't do that. The machine has no free will. It's just responding to instructions from us or making things up. But it's not an agent. It's not self-aware. It's not a conscious being. So therefore, it is not a moral agent.
But what if AI makes similar, maybe even the same moral decisions as us? Maybe not for the same reasons, but what if it comes to the same conclusions? How can we tell the difference?
Well, I'm open to the idea that we may not be able to tell the difference by just looking at the output, right? That was one of the key ideas in the 1950s. You all heard about this behavioristic movement, right? If you cannot tell the difference between the machine and the human being, then we should say that the machine is thinking. But no one really believes that anymore. If we look under the hood, we see that the causal mechanism that generates the output is very different. Then we change our opinion, right? If it's just a machine. John Searle, a famous philosopher who passed away a couple of years ago, he made that point by talking about the famous Chinese room argument. Imagine that you have a rule book, you translate a message from English to Chinese, you just follow rules in the rule book, right? The translator who does that mechanically doesn't understand Chinese. The translator is just following instructions, and that doesn't mean that you understand or speak Chinese. In the same way, the machine, sure, it can behave as if it made decisions. It looks as if it made decisions. We maybe are unable to distinguish between what the machine is doing and what the human being is doing. But that's not all we care about. We care about free will, moral agency, and the machine doesn't have that.
What if I use an AI to make a moral decision, I decide it's acceptable, and then I execute that moral decision? Did my decision have morality, or was it lacking in morality?
I would say that your decision can certainly be moral. You might be able to do good deeds that were previously impossible, right? I can call my mother who lives in Sweden. She's thousands of miles away. I couldn't do that without a cell phone, right? But now I can. I can do good deeds by using machines. That's not revolutionary or novel. We have been able to do that for decades or hundreds of years.
Are you working on what's called a moral scorecard for AI? If so, what would that look like in practice?
Right. So I'm trying to figure out how we can evaluate how well AI tools align with our own values. The idea is that I get to decide what my AI should do, what values it should mimic. And then comes the question, how can I measure whether one AI is more or less moral in this indirect sense, how well it measures or how well it mimics my values? And that's something I'm working on. I have a kind of complicated theoretical framework for that called conceptual space approach. I try to measure similarities between my judgments and those of the AI. The more similar they are, the better aligned they are. But I'm not claiming that the AI is a moral agent or that the AI has values, only in a metaphorical sense.
Understood. What if we give it modules that like sort of mimic a human brain, mimic free will sometime in the distant future? Would we be back here having a new conversation, or would you still insist that it didn't have this sort of morality?
I'm talking about currently existing AIs or near future AIs. We know roughly how those work. We understand the technology behind them. And that's clearly not free will. That's clearly not moral agency. It's something else. It's statistics. But of course, it's possible that some very clever engineers at some point in the distant future build a machine that works in the same way or in a relevantly similar way as we do, but it has moral agency. And then I might be willing to revise my opinion. I'm open to the possibility that some super duper fancy machine in the future would actually be morally responsible for its action, but we aren't there yet.
Well, let's talk about like the weight of moral decisions that AI can make. Like, I don't know, war robots or healthcare decisions or AI models used to make judicial decisions or punishment of criminals. Does any of that concern you, worry you?
Absolutely. The future is more open now than it used to be. We can foresee good things that are likely to happen in the future, like healthcare robots. But you can also foresee that AI will be misused, like drones that kill, say, civilians. The army that has the best drones will win the next war. Drones play a huge role in the conflict in Ukraine. So we should definitely be concerned about that. And it's difficult to control and limit access to technology once it's been developed. So it's both good and bad. And that's what I mean when I say that the future is open. But all we can do, of course, as citizens is to talk about it and put some pressure on politicians and hopefully regulate some of those applications a little bit more.
Do you think organizations like international organizations that govern weapons, creation, maybe weapons of mass destruction, like there's certain UN resolutions preventing nuclear armament of some countries. Do you think it should really go that far, or we should put limits on like the kinds of ways that countries can use AI to try to make sure that warfare robots don't destroy the world? I know that's an extreme case, but things like this.
Right, we agree that certain types of weapons shouldn't be used, like chemical weapons, for example. We can't always enforce that, but we try. And I think we should do something similar with AI drones. We should be very cautious before we let the military use AI for killing people, right? Because it can get out of control and it's very unclear who's responsible for the decisions. So, sure.
Back to the original topic, like AI doing good. Like, do you think AI is forcing us to look at what it means to be human, what it means to make moral decisions, and having us shift our view, or not?
Well, I think we are all asking ourselves now what AI can do. We feel that this is a big moment in technological development. Things are changing fast. We cannot foresee what the future will be like. And we can, of course, hope that most AI applications will benefit us, that we will be able to treat diseases that cannot be dealt with today, etc. It's easy to imagine a lot of great things that can come out of AI, but where it's going to happen, that's very difficult to tell.
Well, it's an interesting line of conversation. I appreciate you coming here, but I think definitively what you're saying is right now AI might mimic morality well, but it does not have it. Is that a good way to describe your position?
Yes. We aren't there yet, and it's a long way to go until it would make sense to say that the AI is a moral agent or it's morally responsible for its actions.
Well, Martin, I appreciate you discussing this with me. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Martin Peterson is a philosophy professor at Texas A&M University.